Well, I'm Dwayne Rawlings. I'm the head varsity baseball coach at Century High School. Dan McCaskill was an assistant with me out at Century since 2012 season. I also assisted Dan in coaching American Legion baseball, and we actually also coached youth football together for 4 years. So I knew Coach Mack really well. He was, the one word that comes to mind with Coach McCaskill is passion. He's incredibly passionate about youth sports, about the players, about baseball in particular. He loved being around the kids. He loved teaching the game. He loved seeing the kids be successful. He was completely dedicated to the kids who played for him. We spent many late nights texting back and forth about the players and what can we do with them and how can we make them better and how can we help the program. And that was a year-round thing. That wasn't just baseball season, just Legion season, just the football season. That was a year-round. He was always thinking about those kids. How can we make them better? What can we do? Just somebody who truly, deeply cared about the game and everybody who played for him.
Joe always made every situation better. He was an awesome baseball coach, but that's not why he did it. He did it for the kids. He really enjoyed being around the kids. He enjoyed being around our coaching staff. He was a loyal, kind-hearted, mouthy, outspoken person, but he had the hugest heart. He's gonna be missed. He's already missed. These kids, they dedicate a lot of what's going on in the baseball season to him. Not only did he coach and play the game with heart, passion, swag. Anybody that knew Coach Maravella knew how much swag he thought he had. I grew up with him my whole life. He's family. He's a little brother, a best friend. A lot of people lost and have a huge hole in their lives because of him and the impact he had on everybody and everybody around him. I love you, Joe. We as a team miss you, and everything that those kids do this year is because of the impact that you had on their lives. And just, I love you, man.
Brian's my son, and I knew him all my life, and as he was growing up, he enjoyed playing sports, and I coached him, and we had a great relationship there. And as he grew up and graduated from high school after playing football at Highland High School, he wanted to continue and do some officiating in sports. He really loved officiating. It became a passion with him, and he not only enjoyed the officiating, but he tried hard to always learn the rules and had a passion for making sure that what he was doing was always the right thing and making the calls right. And he really enjoyed going to state tournaments and felt that as a goal in his life, that he was able to accomplish that and be able to do the top games and work with top officials. And he had great relationships with all of them, as well as the coaches and even with the players on the court in basketball. He'd be talking to them, and he had a good personality and a good inside his heart. He really enjoyed the officiating part of it, as well as talking to the kids. And it's something that was a real extreme pleasure in his life, and also a joy to do.
Cole was a blue-collar worker kid. He always was. I got to first coach him last year, and like I say, he was hard-working, but he was very raw. He was the type of person that if he struck out, he was the one who was probably going to throw his helmet around. He was going to bounce it off the floor. But what I really loved about him was the way that he learned. By the time we got him this year in high school, I didn't see any of that. He was still just as hard-working. He was still a blue-collar kid. He was still very gritty. But he was no longer doing that. He'd matured, he'd grown up, and he'd become a really good baseball player. And that's what I really loved about him. He really had worked hard to grow up, not just as a baseball player, but as a person. I remember the last weekend that I spoke to him. We were taking BP before we played again against Pocatello later that afternoon. And he was on first base, and I was just talking to him, and he was laying out the map of what he wanted to do. He was talking to couple of schools about maybe going and playing baseball, but if not, he was going to head down to Arizona. And I just left that conversation. It was his turn to go bat. I just remember leaving that and thinking how much he'd grown up, how much he'd matured. And I really loved the fact. I loved the fact that I'd been part of seeing that growing up. I'd love the fact that he'd taken it on, that he wanted to do that he now had a plan as to where he wanted to go. And then I love the fact that 2 hours later, he's still out there on a baseball diamond doing absolutely everything that he could to make sure that Blackfoot won. He was a great teammate. The kids loved him because he was a blue-collar guy. He didn't have any airs or graces. He didn't care who you were. He didn't care whether you were a senior and the most senior on the team, or whether you were the new sophomore who was coming in to do a job. As far as he was concerned, you were a teammate of his, and you were there to make our team better. And he was going to pick you up, and he was going to give you a hug, and like I say, that was him again.